Listen, I think there are a lot of good people in Congress. I'm not going to demonize everyone in Congress, because I do think there are people that go into that office with good faith and thinking that they're going to work for the American people, for their constituents. I think there are very difficult circumstances. I don't want to say that make it impossible for them to make these fights happen, but the other side knows a million ways to kill a bill at every step along the way. We only got 3 ways to get it passed: fight like hell, pile enough people against the door, and scream like mad. And the thing is, we really are at a real disadvantage. People that I think are great, Shelley Pingree from Maine is pretty good. I think I'm trying to think. Elizabeth Warren is really good. I don't know if how great she's going to be on the ag issues, but there are a lot of good elected officials out there. Now you put me on the spot. I really can't think of things. Pardon me? Yeah, Rosa DeLauro. Rosa DeLauro is an amazing champion on a lot of these issues. There are a lot of good people in office that want to pass bills, and I'm not sure what it is that bogs them down. I think corporate money, and then getting bad advice from their staffers.
Are you acquainted with Marcy Kaptur?
Yeah, Marcy Kaptur is another great one. Yeah, listen, I should have had more coffee, and I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so my recall is not that great.
I talk to her quite often.
Yeah, there's a lot of good elected officials.
Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod Brown is pretty amazing. Yeah. We need more people in office like that, though. The thing is, I tell you what, I grew up a Republican. I went to evangelical churches as a kid. I watched my dad organize the Republican Party for the evangelicals. It was really effective to see that happen. And, they ran people for office. They didn't just, I'm just saying, they didn't just sit around a coffee and talk about the Bible. They got people, they looked for business people that had their values, and then they ran them in their districts. I know some progressives and Democrats have tried to do that. This is not a progressive or a Democratic issue or a Republican. This is every American citizen, every elected official needs to care about these food issues, local food, sustainability, and all that stuff. So I'm a little short on the Republican side, but I was in Connecticut when the bill passed for labeling. It was bipartisan. The bill in Maine was led by a Tea Party Republican, the GMO labeling bill. So there are a lot of people, and I think the thing is, they don't. It's interesting because Sanjay Gupta just came out and said that he'd been deceived on marijuana for years by the DEA and the literature. I don't want to say we're here supporting marijuana, but I'm just saying that what it shows is that an elected official is only as good as the information that he gets or that his staff gets. That's why it's so important for you guys to get your talking points on the Hill and into these staffers, so you can change the conversation. The other side's so effective in telling their misinforming elected officials about that. So listen, I have to say the same thing. I've been absolutely, I would say, not only uninspired by Tom Vilsack's leadership, I've been appalled. Tom Vilsack is a very smart person. Don't get me wrong. He knows, he's had Chris Peterson pounding on his door for over 10 years. Chris is very persuasive and very persistent. So he knows the right thing to do. They absolutely know. So I think there is a lack of courage and moral fiber in some of these elected officials. Tom Vilsack could be a hero. I have to say, one of the things as a kid, I did have an entertaining moment where I had to have dinner with Earl Butz. My father was a big fan of his and somehow got him invited. I know, it's pretty funny. The thing is, Earl Butz is going to go down in history as the worst Secretary of Agriculture. It's going to be Tom Vilsack. Tom Vilsack knew better, and he didn't stand up. He had a movement behind him on GIPSA. He had a movement behind him on antitrust. He has a movement now behind him on labeling of genetically engineered foods. And he won't do the right thing. If you have the bully pulpit, use it. President Obama, stand up. It's outrageous. I'll just say we're going to continue to be outraged. We're going to continue to take action. We're going to continue to tell our story, and we're going to organize, and we're going to win. That's just how this happens. There's a lot of disappointments on the way to victory. I think we've been in those valleys for too long. I'm almost agnostic. Yes, I'm going to say, listen, I love politics, and I thought for a time, I grew up in a Republican home, I thought that was the answer. Then because I kind of grew tired of the Republicans during the Clinton era when they were impeaching him a little too much. Let's get on with the business of the American people. So I became a Democrat after 9/11. I lived in New York City during 9/11. A friend of mine died in the World Trade Center. I said, this is not a time to be an independent. This is not. You got to choose a side. I said, the Democrats are weak, they're spineless, and they're getting their butts kicked. But they were right at that time, you know. So I thought being a Democrat. Yeah, I mean, listen, a third party may be the only thing that saves America. Maybe the only thing that saves the American dream. But we've been fighting hard in a two-party system, you know, for these last 30 years on these farm issues. It is very hard to create a third-party system that has integrity, that won't get co-opted, and they won't have big money come in to steal the ideals. You know, I have to say, I think we can. That's the only thing that can save us. It really is. You know, the fact is, for me, I actually used to be a research assistant at American Enterprise Institute for Dinesh D'Souza. So I know the far, far right. You know, I'm just saying, I know how they organize, and they have money. I mean, they get thrown millions of dollars. Our organizers, we starve for money. We barely have any money to survive. The billionaires on the progressive side are giving the wrong people that have our values the money to fight this battle. The other thing is, listen, you know, we have to break down the barriers between some of these movements. There's no longer with these trade agreements. When you look at what's going to happen with these trade agreements, you look at what's happening with Keystone. We're all environmentalists. You know, I mean, the environmental movement can't work in a silo. The labor movement can't work in a silo. We have to stand together. The thing is, you know, having a strong labor and strong protections for workers is just as important as having family farmers on the land. You know, we can bring Wall Street to heel, but we're going to fight. It's going to be a fight like hell. I mean, you know, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, that was a grassroots movement, a grassroots rebellion against the British Empire. I have to say they had some strategic advantages in their favor by having their opponent cross an ocean. They did. You know, they really did have some strategic advantages. But I think we have the strategic advantage that the global elites have so totally failed us that the lies of the free market have become exposed. The collapse of Wall Street, the housing market, you know, the mortgage crisis, all this time and time again. And the thing is, they're their own worst enemy. That's what I say, like, listen, the Montana Protection Act, we lost Prop 37, we lose, we win. We just can't stop telling our story. We just can't stop organizing. You know, the more people that find out about this stuff, the more angry they get. You know, and I think my job isn't to get a bunch of Archie Bunkers out there. My job is to get a bunch of people that will go give their elected officials hell, that will go, go vote on election day, that will get out the vote when we need them. You know, that's really what we're hoping to do.